prophecy of the blessed army. The blessing on the army of Christ and the curse on the beast's army in the end. The blessing of the army of Christ is on the banner for the end of the apocalypse. And that blessing is seen in the book of Deuteronomy. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 2, it says, "And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God." And what blessing is that? The blessing of those who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus Christ. That is who gathers in the end for the Exodus. In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 17, you see that it is the woman who keeps the commandments of God and has a testimony of Jesus Christ. And it is this woman, under this banner, the army of the Lord, who has the blessing put on them, who obey the voice of the husband, who come out into the wilderness and wait for his return. And this is the army that will wage war against the beast in the end times. In the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 7, it says, "And the Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways." And we see that it is the beast and his armies that are cursed, who try to come against Christ and his armies in the end times. But that blessing on the banner remains, and it's confirmed that during that time, during that war, that the people of God will be blessed. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, it says, in verse 7 and 8, "And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword." And we see the curse on the beast's armies. We see this come to fruition, the law and the blessings that is upon the people of God for those who keep the commandments of God, and they're lawless ones who refuse to obey the commandments. And their armies, they're going to try to rise up against Christ, and that curse is on them. And we see this. Verse 25 and 26. "The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat for all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away." So we see that it is the beast's armies who will flee away, but they'll be smitten by the sword, and they'll be fed to birds, and no man will fray the birds away. Where is that seen? It's seen in the same book of Revelation chapter 19 about the war against the saints on Christ's return. In the book of Revelation chapter 19, verse 19, it says, "And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat up on the horse and against his armies." And just as the curses that are pronounced on the beast army and the blessings that are upon the army of Christ's blessing is that the people will flee from them, and that the people of God will overcome them with the sword and kill them, and they will flee. Well, the curse on the beast armies is that they will try to fight their enemies, but they will be overcome and that they will flee. And that's seen in the book of Revelation when the beast armies try to flee. It says in Revelation chapter 6, verse 15 to 16, "And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb." And we see here, a part of the curse upon them is that they flee, but they are overcome by the sword, and they are smitten, and that they're fed to the birds. Revelation chapter 19, verse 21, "And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceedeth out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh." And this is the blessing on the army of Christ. Those under the banner, the blessing is on the banner forever. Nobody on the planet can defeat the banner. The beast armies will have no power to overcome those under the banner. Believe this. This apocalyptic banner is the one that has been spoken of and waited for a millennia. And the beast armies, when they gather against the army of Christ, the curse is on them. Their army is cursed with the curses of those that are written in the book of Deuteronomy because they are lawless. But we uphold the law. And under that law, our constitution, and under our banner, we are victorious with the blessing on our army of Christ. And this is the blessed army.